Hello guys, my name is Amit Sani and I welcome you in this daily Hindu analysis video. In the morning these videos come, in the evening the MCQ lessons they come. Both the lessons you need to follow religiously. If you are not following the MCQ lessons, then please follow all the lessons. Extremely important these are, and you can go with their reviews. They are extremely helpful. So I would suggest that do not leave those lessons. We take the leftover things as facts in the newspaper, and we refer other material like other newspapers, PIB data, other important sources there. So that it's a kind of a great addition to the morning lesson only. So it's a complete package. In the morning, half an hour lesson is for Hindu analysis, and the 15-minute lesson is there for MCQs. So you must follow these lessons. 20th August it is. This month is about to end within 10 days, and you need to re-strategize your preparation, because every time you need to recalibrate things. Pocket News app is trending on Google Play, and top faculties have made all these courses affordable courses. Below the video description is given, and you can call on these numbers. You can visit the website also. Chat section is available there. And for the PDF, you can send me a request here on this Facebook group, and the Telegram channel's link is also given here. So let's start listening and following on Instagram too. This is the link for Telegram channel. These are the words that I found today which are significant. First article related to GS paper 2. Something special. It is regarding the recent visit by Mr. Modi ji in Bhutan, and it was a kind of a returning of the state visit when Bhutan Prime Minister Lotse Tshering came in December 18 to India, and at that time they inaugurated the 720 megawatt Mangdechu hydropower plant. So when we talk about Bhutan relations, then the prime thing there to discuss is the hydropower plants, because Bhutan is a Himalayan state and they have enormous capacity, and they are the highest earner in this area, because rivers are falling from these mountains, and they are creating a lot of electricity with these hydropower plants. And India has helped Bhutan in establishing these plants, and a lot of infrastructure help we have done for Bhutan. So Bhutan, being a planned economy, have taken a lot of help from India. From the strategic context also, India is a great helper, and Bhutan has also supported India's moves. And for the security, we have a commitment for Bhutan for its borders. So in the Doklam issue also, we have taken that issue very seriously and fought with China, stood our ground, and it was actually the land of Bhutan, but we had the commitment for the security, so that's why we helped there. Now if we talk about other issues, then you see all positivities you will observe in India-Bhutan relationships, open borders, and a lot of help for Bhutan. Being a small country, India has been inspiration also for Bhutan, but Bhutan itself is a great example. And since 70s, the happiness index issue is going on. Whole world is taking inspiration from that. Even UN took inspiration from Bhutan's model, and we are also applying these issues. Like in some states like MP, they have happiness departments, and also these kind of things are unique regarding Bhutan. So their model is based on environment and ecological balance, and that thing is of prime importance for those people. And here India is trying to give help and take help here. China is a problem there. China has visits, high-level visits in Bhutan. Recently, US is also trying with similar kind of visits, and the location of Bhutan is extremely important. So that's why it becomes much more important for us that we stay alert, and we do not take this relationship for granted. That's our issue, because smaller issues in this good relationship, they can be an obstacle in the future, because when relations are good, then even the smallest of the things, smallest of the differences, they create negative impact, huge impact, and here the exploiters are present. So that's why we have to take care about the issues of Bhutan always, and we need to maintain those things. Like we have changed our power purchasing policy suddenly, and that was a kind of a great jolt for Bhutan, and we have put their rigid rates, and we have refused to allow Bhutan to join the national power grid of India, and we even did not allow Bhutan to trade with third countries like Bangladesh and all, because Bangladesh is across the India's border and India's states are in between there, so it needs the allowance from India, and we have not allowed Bhutan there. So these kind of things may be problematic for Bhutan, and here on those points it may rethink over some issues, and where China can take advantage, because China has always the capacity edge over India, and in all these smaller countries it has exploited those gaps where India cannot support that much financially, but China can. So China is always ready to exploit those things, and obviously it's the neighbor of India, and it's a good neighbor of India first of all. So that's the most problematic thing for China, and it will always try to spoil this relationship, the India-Bhutan relationship. So that's why we need to stay alert there. BBIN corridor we had proposed, but that is hanging till now, and some issues, environmental ecological issues are there with Bhutan, so they will take care for those things, as they say, and we need to adjust here. We need to take care of all these issues, and we need to establish the continuing coordination there. That's the case, and this is all for today. And you can see Bhutanese students, they always came to India for studies and all. Now they are also going beyond till Australia, Singapore, Thailand, and also they are learning new things, and they are much more interactive than they were with India. So these things may bring new changes, and here in the times of new changes and in a different kind of a world where the world is exploiter for nature, and this is a country which is a nutter of the nature, so there can be unique situations, and here we must maintain a good image, and that would be very beneficial here. So this is all, and this is surely something special when we talk about India and Bhutan relationship, the only neighborhood which is looking very happy. Next article important for GS paper 2 and 3 both. Here, against the convention, against the popular advertisement, against the official reports, some serious questions and apprehensions are there by the writer Ullas Karant. He is a director for Center for Wildlife Studies in Bengaluru, and he is raising some crucial points here, and which look legitimate. Why? Because the data is a problem nowadays. If you talk about the unemployment data, first they rejected the same report, after elections they accepted the same issue, and first they said that these are all tricks, political tricks to tarnish our image before the elections, and then they accepted the similar data. Then the confusion came regarding the GDP numbers, a lot of issues of suppression of reports and attack on autonomy we have seen. Now in that series we are observing a new issue here in the tiger census also, according to the writer. Although the views are personal, and nowhere it is said that these are true only, these may be false, but these may be true also, because he is giving some points here. What are these? The tradition of reporting regarding tiger numbers dates back to the 70s, when Indira Gandhi ji was a great initiative taker in this ecological and environment area. She attended the Stockholm conference in 70s, and very soon after that in 72 we had our Wildlife Protection Act of 72, and the very next year 73 National Tiger Conservation Authority came into existence. So the census also started. Means the official census like it is happening right now, that was not happening, but they wanted to know the numbers. That was very much obvious. So pug mark census method was adopted, but it gave very silly numbers, and later it was revealed that these things are not reliable, and we cannot rely on the pug mark census methods. Here when it was a shock in 2005, which came from Sariska Abhyaranya, which is there in eastern Rajasthan, where in reality they found out that all the tigers had been poached. No tiger is left in Sariska, and it was a kind of a great shock, because it was having a good population numbers there, and all were lost. And the Pugmark census was telling a different story, and the same bureaucracy which was giving these numbers, always they have been very much secretive, and they have always denied the independent research teams and evaluation teams there, and they were giving some numbers. Now when they found out that even with the pugmark method they could not find any tiger there, so it was a kind of a great shock. Then the tiger task force was appointed by the Prime Minister of India at that time. Now what it was expected to do, that they bring some changes like the public private partnership PPP model framework led by qualified scientists must be working there, and they should observe the numbers every year monitoring should be there. Instead of those things, it actually bolstered and strengthened the bureaucratic monopoly over the tiger monitoring. And with the same monitoring, now we are having numbers every 4 years. Every 4 years there is a tiger census. In 6 and 10 we had very depressing numbers. In 14 some positivity was there, 2200 around we got the numbers, and it was a kind of a 780 numbers rise in the population, and now we are reaching up to 3000 according to the official reports. But writers says that it's actually tough to believe those numbers. Why? Because the same bureaucratic monopoly is remaining there, and they have blocked all the independent expert teams and all the independent evaluation from outside, and they are saying that blindly believe our numbers, whatever we are giving. And it is the same bureaucracy which was working in Sariska Abhyaranya and which was giving vague numbers, and those were totally unrealistic. In 2006 survey report, the same bureaucracy reports were giving the numbers of 3642, but actually when the methodology changed according to the advanced ways, then they found out only 1411 tigers are left. Means it was a huge concern, and around 2100 numbers were lesser there. 61% massive difference was there, and it collapsed by 61%. So at that time it was a great question over the working of the bureaucracy and their numbers. So it was a shocking situation again the very next year after the Sariska fiasco. Then they found out that we cannot go this way, and we have to change our ways, and new methodologies were adopted, some international practices were adopted, but still we are not at that stage where all the most advanced technologies are not adopted, and still we are going with some old technologies, and according to international standards these things are not up to that mark. So some margin is left, and still the bureaucratic monopoly is there. Now unrealistically they say that bureaucracy has adopted this new baseline that is very low of 1400 numbers, which was there in 2006, and now say the new methodology, when the experts go into the details, then they say that details are mind-boggling, means they are very problematic, and critiques of the design, models and flaws, these things are there, means there are many lags, and the issue is of margin, because margin is there. It is not very easy to count these tigers even with these modern technologies. So the margin remains, and here with the Indian methodology that margin is huge. So they may tailor the numbers, and there can be generated increases, or there may be decreases also in numbers. So the writer says that the report looks like a major hype there. We may not have 3000 tigers. Okay, so how do we know about that? What is the reliability here? The issue of reliability is a big concern, because many data from the government side, they are problematic. Even the GDP numbers, they are under a lot of questions. So how we can blindly believe the forest bureaucracy numbers? That's the problem. And what is the secrecy issue here? Why they are not allowing independent experts there to count the numbers? What is the problem with that? It is not any anti-national agenda here, and there is no security concern. It is only the numbers of the tigers. If you want to really help them, let them help there. But why they have blocked all these expert teams, and by their own methodology they are giving some numbers, and they expect us to believe all of them. So it's the concern of the writer, and the writer says that according to some analysis, no major changes are there in the methodology and in their workings, and hiding of the tiger data by the forest bureaucracy is in clear defiance of the scientific ethics and public interest. If you want to really help, then it's a situation that they have blocked the independent evaluations. And what is the problem with that? And India like country, having with the major forest biodiversity and all, there must be at least 10,000 to 15,000 tigers. Maximum numbers must reach up to those numbers. But bureaucracy says that only 3,500 maximum can survive in India. So it's a kind of a great gap here, great difference here in their maximum expectations. So why it is the case, and it should improve, and they must bring these changes, and the transparency should be maintained. Otherwise, from everywhere, every department, we see these issues that secrecy is the most important thing for the officials, and that they do not want to give any transparent ways, and the accountability remains questionable here. Next, the far right's disruption of globalization. Issue is of protectionism. Issue is of right-wing ideology, which is having its reflections in the policy making, decision making, and the economic handling in this world. So CP Chandrasekhar talks about Trump, talks about China America situation, and some Europe situations and some issues. So GS paper 2 and 3 both would be important here. He says that US, who was the main protectionist and the protagonist of globalization wave, with the Washington consensus, it all started, and it went all the way in the support of liberalization, open borders, free trade, and the investments, and all these opening of the economies, and it took a lot of advantages. Now when the developing countries are taking advantage of the situation, and a different kind of world is in front of us, here the same country, America, going against this wave, and they are talking all about anti-globalization and the protectionism issue, and putting a lot of allegations on the major countries. It is justifying its protectionism there. Like the case of China, $540 billion is the total import of America from China, and out of this 540 billion, first they started 25 tariff on $50 billion products, then they went for additional 200 for 10% tariff, and they raised this tariff to 25%, and on this August 1, the remaining $300 billion purchase that came under 10% additional levy, and the critics say that these levies too can be raised to 25%, means the whole import of $540 billion can come under additional 25% tariffs or the levies. So that is kind of a great deal, and it will escalate the matter a lot, because $540 billion is a huge number, and it is not even our forex reserve. And here this much raise, 25% raise, means Chinese items will be more expensive, and 25% rise in their prices it's a kind of a devastating thing for the Chinese exporters, because their export model is very much fancy, and they are all going with the export model, although it is already having many challenges, because the world demand is very low, and in this low demand phase, 25% rise in the prices, it's a kind of a great deal. And that's why in a response, Chinese have also raised 25% duty on $120 billion imports from America, which are coming to China, and that's a kind of a trade war that is going on, and that has kept the world growth very low. And Americans, they have put many allegations. As they always put allegations before justifying something. They have put allegations that Chinese authorities, they have devalued their yuan, and you all know that when depreciation, that is automatic, devaluation, that is intentional. So in both these cases, it helps exporters, because when they will sell the items and they will get the payments in dollars or something like that, then the home currency, they will get more with the exchange, because the payments are done in dollars. Or if these payments are done in their home currencies, then buying that currency will be very easy for the importer, so that helps the exporters. So this way the export model has flourished for Chinese, and this is the allegation by Americans. So America says that China is a currency manipulator, and that issue, that practices against the world trade practices, and that's why they are justifying their own protectionism with this allegation. Now the world's leading superpowers are fighting like that, and that is hampering the world growth, and globalization is threatened with that. And with the threat on globalization, India is also threatened. Why? Because countries like India, which their export models are aspiring ones, and we want to raise our exports, and we want to get advantage more from this globalization trend. And this issue has helped us in the last 2 decades, and we want more help here. But if the world is going against the globalization trend, and they are all going for protectionism, then it is going to be a devastating things for our export models. And in this rising phase, we may have major challenges, and that's why we are raising this issue everywhere. Even in the G20 summit, Modi ji raised this issue. Now we see that America-China trade. America has a 420 billion trade deficit, and that's huge. And you see, it is not counting a major issue here. That is the American multinational subsidiaries. Subsidiaries means support American MNCs there, and it establishes offices in India. So these are the subsidiaries, and they will export something to America, which they will produce here, and that will be a cheaper import by America, because it is exported by the American subsidiary only. So that's the case. So it's more helpful. So why that thing was possible? Because it was globalization there. Because of the globalization trend, these subsidiaries and their exports to the home country, that was possible. But now America is going against the globalization move, and it still wants those subsidiaries to export things to America. So that's why they are not counting those things. And this way they are continuing with the support of their subsidiaries, and they are not counting their numbers. And at home they are talking about protectionism, that buy American things, employ Americans, and it is all about America, America first. So in a way we can see that complexities are huge here, and even America and all the countries, they need globalization to grow there. But due to this type of politics and this type of handling, the right-wing populism, America is all going for protectionism there. Why? Because there are models, and there is a unique model in the right-wing ideology, that there is a majority, there is a minority section, or there may be multiple minority sections, but you need the votes from majority. So you target the majority, and you give them advantage there, you give them economic help there, and economic supportive issues will be available to the majority. So this way they will win the election very easily. Maybe the model is flawed, and it is not an ideal way to manage things, manage economy, and it will ultimately distort the economy there. But it is all the short-term gains and political existence, winning the elections for the short-term period, and after that we will see what's going to happen. But right now it will win us the election. And obviously this handling is immature, but this is done by Trump. According to some experts, they say that it's all immature-ish handling, and that will ultimately devastate all the issues of economy, and we will be under threat. But right now it is supporting Trump's politics. Why? Because it has targeted a particular majority. And you see, this thing is visible in many countries, where the majority is a blind supporter of the leader, like US farmers. They are the blind supporters of Trump. The country people, they are the blind supporters, because there is a reason. Trump talked about their concern. Trump said that you people remain behind in a particular minority that is very rich. They have escalated their life, and they are very rich today, and they are enjoying their lives. Instead of Trump being within that rich category, Trump was a rich person. He was a great businessman there, and he belonged to that particular rich class. But he Now he is campaigning for the presidentship. When he was campaigning, then he talked to these countrymen, and he said that all people are way advanced and you remained behind here in this race. So I will take your concern there, and we will employ your generations, and it will be the America First policy. And this way, it's all a aggressive nationalism issue that is talking about the concern, but just talking, not actually helping. Here, when this Chinese tariff war is going on, then the US farmers, who are the exporters of the soya bean, and Chinese were the great importers there. Now they are heavily hit, but still they are the blind supporters because they still believe that Trump will do something for them. So that is the case with the right-wing populism there, and which targets a particular section, and it talks about their interest. Maybe in reality they are doing nothing about them, but they talk about their concerns. And similar things we observe in India too. So that's the case, because in India the religion, the nationalistic issues and all, they are all a great hype here, and the leaders talk about those issues very aggressively, and this way they target the opposition there, and they have crushed all the other parties and all, and they are sailing on the political wave there. So similar wave, a targeted section, a division in the society, and multiple groups are there, and the minorities are not able to raise their concern. Majority is all a blind supporter, and they are appreciating their leaders, but in actual sense economy is hurt. In the same way in US also, economy is majorly hurt, and they are going for some changes in the Fed rates and all these issues are going on, and it is nowhere supportive to other countries too. But this immature decision making and inept handling of the issues by the Trump, that is going on, and it is all visible there. But the faith in Mr. Trump by these people, and the rejection of economic liberalism, they are telling, means they are supporting the Trump's move of protectionism, whether they are getting any help or not, but they are still supporting. So that's why this kind of fallout and the trade aggression that can set back the globalization across the world, and it may hit very heavily, and countries like India, which are aspiring nations, developing nations, they may hit a lot here. Okay, so that's the case. And this US trade deficit with China is the result of offshoring associated with globalization. Means whatever subsidiaries issues were there, that was possible because of the globalization, but now they are going all against that, and America may lose big time here. That is the case. China is losing also, but America will also lose here. So all are losers in this tariff war, and it is all the egoistic issue. And who is benefiting out of it? The people who are running the agendas of aggressive nationalism, protectionism, they are going to be the beneficiary here, because people are blindly supporting their moves, and they are provoked here with their aggressive campaigning based on these protectionism and the aggressive nationalism discourses and the rhetorics. So that's the case. Same thing is going on in Europe also. Right-wing populism is on rise, and every country is taking their own concern as a priority, whether we talk about France, whether we talk about any European country. Britain, we have seen this, the Brexit is the biggest icon of the protectionism issue, right-wing populism issue, and anti-immigrant rhetorics are also going on in every country. So these all things are saving their own political agendas, and the leadership and the ruling parties, they are promoting these aggressive populism issues where opinions are heavily divided in all these countries, whether we take the example of India, France, Britain or America. Heavy support is there for the leaders, heavy opposition is also there for the leaders, but the support is bigger in number. That's why it's going on. But these are not good moves for this world, and all countries will repeat the history if they will not read the history here, because these things have happened in the past also, and the whole world have seen many great negative consequences of this kind of rise there, because this world can go with the cooperation, and right-wing populism does not have any place for cooperation there, because they cannot compromise. They are tackling issues with aggression, and this is not the best way in this world. So this is all for today. We will meet again tomorrow, and some issues which are left we will see tomorrow, and in the evening we will take these lessons. Thanks a lot. Keep watching. It was Amit Sai.